So, 0-2. Democratic Party once again tried to assassinate Mr. Trump. And as you can see here, right here on screen, I have the FEC database for Mr. Ryan Roof, who was the one that was arrested and was charged with two very light crimes by the feds, essentially getting scot-free. Well, basically he was debriefed. So what we can see, 19 donations over the course between September of 2019 and March of 2020. All of them to Act Blue from the state of Hawaii. Totaling at, well, I can do a quick calculation, should be about $120, but let's just do this real quick. I'll pick Excel for this. Here we go. Because I think that goes a little quicker. That should be enough. So 3, 190, $19, 10, 1, 1, 5, 1, 10, 5, 1, 15, 1.5, 10, 10, 10, 1, 10, and 25. That's $140.90. Sorry, $140.40. It's not that much. Maybe a few Facebook ads here and there. But that's all the money that he threw at the DNC. So I don't want to hear anything about this guy being a Republican, because a Republican would never donate to the Democratic Party. In particular, to Joe Biden's presidential campaign. Shut it. So, in case you don't believe me, here we go. Right at the top. Federal Election Commission. Sit down, shut up, and listen for once. This shit needs to stop. I don't want to hear anything about Trump being a threat to democracy. The real threat to democracy is someone who wants to assassinate his political opposition. That's the real threat. Don't give me this role reversal nonsense. Don't give me this Butma Orange Man, Butma January 6th. Shut the fuck up. I'm not playing around here anymore. The moment you start shooting at your political opposition, like you fuckers did with Steve Scalise at the congressional baseball game, where you put the man in a hospital, he now needs a fucking cane for the rest of his life. Yeah, you cunts need to shut the fuck up about this shit. Steve Scalise was shot because the Democrat media consistently spread around this Russian collusion bullshit. It's false. Robert Mueller in his report literally said there is no collusion. Then we had John Durham doing the thing over again. He says there is no collusion. The Clinton campaign created this bullshit together with John McCain. It has been proven a dozen times over, Russian collusion did not happen. You shot the majority whip of the House of Representatives because of that. 3 other congressmen were almost killed that day because of Bernie Sanders and his lies promoting that trash. Then you had an impeachment against Mr. Trump for something very simple, and I'll pull up Rumble for you, because I'll show you this right now. So you had Joe Biden, Council of Foreign Relationships, I believe it was 2019. I think Rumble has purged it. That's fucking hilarious. Rumble isn't supposed to do that kind of shit. Let's do this instead. Yeah, this one.
Not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones, so I got Ukraine, and I remember going over convincing our team or others to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, "No," I said, "I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion." They said, "You have no authority. You're not the president." The president said. I said, "Call him." I said, "I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion." I said, "You're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here." And I think it was 6 hours. I looked. I said, "I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money." Well, son of a bitch, got fired, and they put in place someone who was solid at the time. Well, they made some genuine, substantial changes institutionally and with people.
That individual in question was Viktor Shokin, that was fired. He was investigating Burisma Holdings, a company at which his son, Robert Biden, was working for. Despite not having any qualifications in the energy sector, Robert Biden, because of his last name, gets a job at a Ukrainian oil and gas firm, which was under investigation for corruption. Shokin's successor immediately stopped the investigation into Burisma Holdings. And why did Mr. Trump get impeached for this? Well, simple. He was linked this video, or this particular speech. He calls up Zelensky at, late 2019. It says, "Hey, this sounds like corruption. Can you guys investigate?" Gets impeached over it. Sorry, buddy, but that's the only time a U.S. president got impeached for investigating a crime. Normally, you get impeached for committing a crime, but in this particular case, Mr. Trump was impeached for investigating one. And of course, Mr. Zelensky repaid it by doing everything in his efforts to get Biden elected. So, back to Ryan Ralph. What do we know about this guy? He featured in a documentary regarding Ukraine and their war effort. He was interviewed by the New York Times and many other American news stations exactly for this particular regard. He was actively recruiting people to fight for the Ukrainian army. And he has written in a book that he released in 2023, together with his fiancée, about how Trump needed to be assassinated. Yes. This guy's an absolute fucking whack job. Connected to the Ukrainian government. He has actively been in contact with CIA assets. Don't think this is light. I'm not taking this lightly anymore. The US government's actively trying to kill Donald Trump. That's it. At normal stage, I would be like, okay, let's see where the evidence is pointing us at. What can we do? What does the most likely tale of events going to be like? No, here we got a guy who donates to the Democratic Party, who has actively traveled to Ukraine, recruiting people for their army to fight against the Russians, is in contact with CIA assets, and he just tried to take a shot at the President of the United States. The 45th and soon to be 47th. Yeah, I'm not joking around anymore. The most likely outcome of this particular, of all the points of information we have, the most likely outcome of this is that Mr. Ralph was hired by the US government to take out Mr. Trump. Here's what we know. June 27th, Joe Biden has a debate with Donald Trump. He gets absolutely destroyed. Joe Biden insists that he will not drop out. Then, 2 weeks later, Donald Trump gets a 22 ear piercing. and survives. Joe Biden immediately drops out. Fast forward to September 10th. Kamala Harris has an absolute terrible debate against Donald Trump, gets absolutely clobbered. Donald Trump has the final word every single time, completely destroys her. A week later, not even a week later, Donald Trump is almost shot again. Yeah, it's not a fucking coincidence anymore. So I would recommend to Mr. Trump, do not go to any debates anymore, because you destroy the political opposition and a week later you get almost shot. So, no, don't do this shit anymore. Debates don't matter anymore. It's all about turnout now. Collect the money, get your people to turn out. That's all you need to do to win this election. America depends upon it. Come November 9th, I believe it's November 9th, whatever. I already put my vote in already. I already had my mail-in vote. It's already out. I'm tracking it. Interventionism itself is on the ballot. And in this particular regard, I hope it fucking dies. All this bullshit. We've been to Iraq for false reasons. We've been to Afghanistan for false reasons. We've overthrown Libya for no fucking reason. Now we're doing the same bullshit in Ukraine. Yeah, it can fucking die. No more American blood shall be spilled for this. Fuck you. Thank you kindly for watching. I'm really fucking pissed off at this moment. See you next time. Cheers.